Hey, Australian Metals here. Today I'm going to be mass producing some simple copper rings. We're using this fancy ring forming tool and this sustainable e-waste copper. This is stuff that I mined from e-waste, so I practically have an unlimited supply. There's the tool that I will be using. Nice colour on it, high quality thing, quite weighty. And these are the rings that I will be making. As you can see, they're quite nice. So a little close up on them for you. So these ain't going to be expensive at all. Perhaps 20-30p a ring per piece. Probably sell them in large job lots or something for crafts. Yeah, quite nice though. Perfectly formed little rings. And they are made from sustainable copper also. So we mass produce a load of these. As many as I can be bothered making, at least. And also to demonstrate the use of this tool. Put some of them aside. Nice box that this comes with, as you can see. Very simple to use tool. Now the other way. Nice ring formed. Look at that. So, with my clippers. Pretty much vital for this. If you want to get a nice cut at least on the ring. Make sure it's all aligned properly. These actually do go on bigger fingers. See? But they can be quite difficult to get off then. But that's like most rings, I suppose. Start that pile here, and that's opened a little bit there. We close that. So where I just shoved it on. Interesting tool this. I'll definitely be using this in the future for other rings, different metals. Most likely tin rings, pure tin, which will again be skin safe, like this copper. I'm going to avoid any metals like the maker's irritation, like indium and things like that that are really soft. Probably just be daft. So I won't be making any indium jewellery anytime soon. At least. Maybe make a pendant out of it someday. Of indium. Or some more exotic metal. Just giving this a quick rotate as the copper that I was using was a little bit bent. It is e-waste copper. As you can see, it makes perfect rings, this ring former, and the copper as well. It's quite thin, this copper wire. Have thicker stuff there, slightly thicker gauge. Depends what part of the cable that I got it from, as I got this from some e-waste cable. Household stuff. Stuff that your house is wired with. So it's good thick gauge copper. Since it's for mains wires. It's quite early in the morning at the moment, as usual, and it's extremely dark. Very dark day today. Not sunny at all. So I'm starting the morning with making a load of these rings, because I'm usually busy in the afternoons. making usually findings. Using up more of this copper as I have a massive pile that I'm currently trying to get through. Didn't form correctly. There we go. And it's a bit off center. There's a flat part of this wire working tool here, and you can use that to squish out any irregularities, thinner metals. Used to unbend bits of wire usually. You can do that in larger movements, I suppose, but this is quite thin wire, so I'm just doing it like that. Little tiny offcut left. I'll make use of that somehow. Probably turn it into a split ring. Try not to waste any of the copper material that I mined. Quite a bit of effort to recover it in the first place. Stripping it out of loads of mains wire, which is extremely thick gauge, and it's messy and nasty because it's covered in silica, you know, that desiccation stuff. Still having my morning coffee. Oh, that's good. Coffee tastes nice. Where would we be without coffee? Cuts on my hands. And this hand is covered in calluses, like them things. Sort of going away from repetitive use of doing stuff. The more I do this, less burns I get upon my hand. Repetitive use. I don't get repetitive strain injury though. Avoid that. So twisting your wrist like that with pliers. If you're doing similar work, because that will put you out of action for a fair amount of time. And is extremely unpleasant. Usually happens with these wire bending tools that are just twisting stuff like that. And you twist your wrist out of place. So it's nasty. It's a hospital worthy injury, so don't do it. And move slow and smooth. No jerky movements. Causes great injury doing this. Surprisingly. Not level. That once over. Make sure it's nice and round. Nice pile forming there. Be lots more ring videos in the near future. Keep an eye out for them. I'll be making DIY ones, simple ones like this, and the whole full setup, I will be melting ingots and forming rings from them ingots. I'm probably setting some gemstones in them, so keep an eye out for that. Should be very, very pretty. Fully adjustable, that tool, if you want different thickness of gauge of wire. Handy thing to have on there. Strange sound my phone just made. Could have swore I turned vibration off. Wow. People want me to go do things and buy things. And I'm not in the mood. So it won't be. I'm in the mood for making lots of rings today. Takes a little while to make a nice little pile of about 25 of these, perhaps half an hour. If you were doing it slowly, not so quickly like I am. Probably about the amount of that I'll sell the job lots in, 25 rings at a time, a good price. Pay for the material and time. See quite a few craft uses for the rings. Make giant dangly hooped necklaces, earrings. Use them as rings alone. Solder them closed. Could even make bezels out of them for holding gemstones or cobochons. Those round flat gemstones. That's what they're called. But there are multiple uses for these rings, not just putting on the finger. Recommended uses, I guess. Again, making sure it's nice and level. Some of them are, some of them ain't. Five, 10, about 12 now. Let's continue making some more. Lovely little tool this. Quite dark today, as I mentioned. I actually have all the lights on. Should be sunny as hell, but lots of weather modification going down. Pure 80s. Cold War weather modification tech. That does exist. It's not hard to find the proof of that one. Just look at all that crap they're pouring out of planes, jets and stuff. That's not normal. Chemical trailings. Definitely block the sun, because there was like a million planes up yesterday with chemtrails, and now there is no sun. and there was no clouds whatsoever, so definitely blocking the sunlight. Takes no guesses why. Probably short on water though, that's the thing too. Cities use a lot of water, which is probably why they use weather modification stuff. Fill up reservoirs. Anyway, I'm waffling about chemtrails. Dear. Not exactly jewellery talk, but it's sort of relevant to why the day is so dull. Very cool tool this. Should be extremely handy when I pour tin ingots. It'll save me screwing around and going old school, forming these rings on an anvil, which will make an irregular shape, and I won't be able to gauge the sizes. Like these at the moment are around size Z rings on the ring sizer, so quite sizable, just enough. That's not nice and level. No, it is. So 15 rings formed. Not bad, not bad. Still quite thirsty. See if we can make another 10. Maybe 25 then, or a full set. Got what set? Already made an impressive amount of these, as I have other plans for them as well, not just selling some. Sort of like a basic jewellery finding, I suppose. Another thing that I'll likely be selling in the future. Findings. Sustainable copper jewellery ones. Sustainable is always better. No Chinese slaves. Literally. As I am a Welshman. British. No Chinese slavage. Feeding communism, bad. Enough Chinese people already. Where was that? Oh. Nope, still a bit irregular there. Ooh, my wrist is starting to attain some repetitive injury feeling from this weird angle. Displeasant. Oh, that bit of copper wire I just had go. No, there's a new piece. There we go. These need a little bit of a tighten. Securing mechanisms. Need that for more dense metals. You're working with more dense metals, require a lot more strength and it'll destroy the tool if you don't tighten everything on back. So that's why these are here. For example, if you were bending 9-carat gold, which is an alloy of copper and gold, so 37.5% gold, 9-carat gold by weight and math, which is why it's often stamped 375, 37.5% gold. The rest is usually copper. Well, if it's yellow gold, many different alloys of that, including purple gold, which is a alloy of gold and aluminium. Yes, they mix aluminium and gold together to make purple gold. Not so nice looking gold as it goes, which is why it's not often done. But gold aluminium alloys do exist. It's sort of strange looking shape, don't want that. Come back in. Better. Be more level. Let's get up to that 20 number. As you can see, this tool allows extremely rapid formation of the rings. Which allows me to make quite a number in a short time. But if you were bending way more dense metal, it would take you a hell of a lot longer to bend through that ring former. And also a considerable amount of strength, no doubt. Probably 1, 2, 3, 4, so about 20 rings there. See if we can get to 25. Should be able to. Make a nice chunky pile. A nice number also. Quarter of 100. Good number to start with, I guess, for a mass production. Wouldn't be much of a mass production otherwise. This is a big pile at the end of the video. Ooh, smells very, very coppery. So quite nice. So quite a lot of copper wire material left. I'll likely turn that into some jewellery findings later in the day. Making lots of interesting jewellery findings lately. I will share and show how to make all them in another video. Should be interesting. Be able to make your own jewellery findings then. Anyone that's working with jewellery or starting out, I've actually been making jewellery for a fair while now. Time span. Although saying that, my metallurgical skills led me to making jewellery, pouring bullion and such. Since I was working metals a lot, I decided why not work some jewellery since I'm so good with metals. Oh, it was a good decision. So I now do a bit of both. There's gold recovery and things like that. Oh, they're extremely high energy projects, since you have to strip the electronic device, get to the gold, cut that gold out, then you have to dissolve it in acids, and then you have to weigh it or process it and sell it. It's a lot more work. Well, it does pay. The amount of effort involved is triple this. Triple making jewellery. Nonetheless, I'll likely do gold recovery in the future as well, still. Regardless. When I have some spare time and it's summer or some such. So half an hour for around 25 rings we got. So I'd have to sell these packs for at least over £5 plus delivery. For these many rings to pay for my time. A good price. I'm sure you'll agree. So a nice big pile of rings. Sort of like the ones you got out of a 20p machine as a kid, except not made of zinc and aluminium. Actually, these actually are copper. So, no junk 20p machine ones, although they can be quite nice. But they're not real, not really. Made by a machine somewhere. Not a human. Bit off center. Much better. A lot of these rings close so tight that you don't even need to secure them. See that there? That's the link of where it was. So tightly closed. So 25 rings there. Are all done. So quick inspection. There's all the rings that were just made. Nice considerable pile. 25. They're all quite nice, extremely shiny. Bit textured also. Processing work just then. Try and get a nice close up there. They look quite nice though, very very shiny. As well as the ring forming tool. These bits generally don't use brass, Teflon, steel rings, although they can be useful for larger diameter and gauge wires. Well, till next time.